Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am Musa Agbadu. Here we dissect and share our views and perspective on issues affecting you and I. With me in the studio are
Abraham Maida Judah, good morning.
good morning.
Morning.
Well, how was your night, sir?
Well, it was good. I had a nice time.
What about you, Farida?
Oh, my did
Ah, today on the show, President Tinubu to meet with Labour leaders on Thursday. Discussions to be centered on the new national minimum wage. There have been back and forth tripartite committee, the labor, that's the organized labor, the organized private sector, and the government. They've been back and forth, the labor union, the government, the organized private sector on the new minimum wage. While the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria are insisting on the 250 minimum new minimum wage. The federal government first proposed 62,000. Well, the president has asked that he should be given time to consult widely. Well, the consultation is still ongoing. Uh, there has been challenge with the issue of minimum wage in the country, seeing the 30,000 naira has not been implemented by some states till this moment. I am of the opinion that since the National Assembly will sign into law a minimum wage, and yet some states in the federation will not pay their staff or claim they won't be able to pay, then it should be every state, that's the labor union, uh, the chapter in the state should negotiate with the governor of the state. How much will you be able to pay? There should be no uniform amount as it is because it's not being implemented across board. What's your view, sir?
Thank you. Concerning the issue of the state negotiating on their own, as you can see, the national minimum wage is a constitutional matter that needs a constitutional amendment to break it down from national to state level. So once there's the national minimum wage, it's a peg that you can't go beneath or you can go above. Now, this is where I will expect the just like the issue of your financial autonomy, we should go to the Supreme Court to interpret the law in such a way that it will make things easier for us. And the other issue is is our National Assembly doing? We just sit and watch issues until they hit us on the face, they will begin to run better scatter. That being said, now this issue of national minimum wage is becoming a never-ending story. We've been talking about this for years. And now this present situation, we've been talking about it since May 29. The subsidy was removed. Now it's 1 year, about 2 months, and we're still talking. The tripartite committee was created, and they've submitted their report after spending, I think, close to £1 billion to arrive at a conclusion that is not accepted by the three parties. Now it has been submitted to the president. And Mr. President have been having a series of meetings with governors, with the private sector, with labor. And up to now, they're still proposing another meeting for Thursday next week. For how long? People are hungry. People are waiting for the minimum. The prices of goods, they are not waiting. The prices of goods are not having meeting, endless meeting.
Well, the president has agreed to implement whatsoever they've agreed from May. I don't know whether I understand.
Yes,
Yeah, so they will take time consulting, keep on consulting till they arrive. And any amount they arrive, he said he will start implementing. That's from May 2024. But however, that's from the federal government workers alone. Will the governors to start implementing from May 2024? So I guess we should arrive at an amount. What's your take?
Abubuwan da ke tafiya nan dai an riga an saba shi ba yau kuma ban ce zai zama ƙarshe ba. Yau za ka ga an tashi da wannan kamar yadda aka fara shi an yi shi a last year lokacin da aka kamar yadda kai magana lokacin da aka cire subsidy din nan tallafin man fetur kenan ko an san cewa mutane suna wahala. Quietly sure NLC suna fighting rights na mutane ne akan mai ma'aikata ko ba haka ba? Sannan kuma a ce jibi ranar Alhamis kenan zai zamanto cewa president zai zauna da su akan wannan magana don su samu conclusion akan da ya magana akan
Minimum wage.
din sabon mafi karancin albashi yadda su suke maganan 200,000 ne. Yanzu zan kuma kan maganan da kai a farko kace kowane state da irin kowane state da irin kuɗin shigan da suke samu
Yes.
kamar yadda yatsunmu suka zamanto ba daidai ba. To amma baka tunanin kaman zai zamanto yanzu a ce ga state nan ga state ko ba haka ba bari in bada example guda biyu. Wannan sun yi iya kokari shugabannin an ci gaba a cikin wannan state din. Waɗannan kuma ka san cewa kuɗin da ake basu ɗaya ne.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same. You
Kuɗin da
cannot compare River State and Taraba State.
Ka-
The revenues are
abun
not
da yake faruwa ba
equal.
abun da yasa na ce haka an ci gaba a can an ci gaba irin a wasu ɓangaren ba a ci gaba ba saboda mai yanayin shugabannin da kuke da su wasu suna jajircewa su yi aiki domin wannan jihar ɗin ta ci gaba wayannan kuma ba su jajirce ba wadda kuma an ba da kuɗin da za a yi amfani da shi gurin ci gaban wannan jihar amma kuma sun yi wasa da wannan daman ɗin sai zamana sai wannan sun ci gaba kuma in aka ƙara samun wani shugaba zai ƙara ya haɓaka kai dai jihan zai ci gaba kamar yadda ya saba yanzu aka zo aka samu shugaba wanda zai abu na kirki a wannan jihar to ka san zai fara daga farko ne tun na farkon ba su yi komai ba to kaga zai zama to kuɗin shigan su ba ɗaya ba amma baka jin cewa idan aka ce to tun da haka ya kasance a cikin biyu ɗin nan ya kamata a ce a sa kuɗi mai yawa akan wannan jiha da suka ci gaba a sa kuɗin da ya fi karanci a jihan da bai ci gaba ba baka tunanin za su ce okay mu da muke sacrificing muke ta danne son zuciyarmu muke ayyuka masu kyau da sauransu ko kuma don ci gaban jiha ɗin nan wato sai zamana kuma mu ne za a kashe ko wani abu makamancin haka to bari mu ma mu koma mu sake mu relaxing irin mu daina yin ayyukan ci gaban in ya so sai mu zo mu zama daidai in ya so komai namu sai ya tafi tare.
Well, every state in Nigeria has a potential to develop. Yes, we are blessed with resources. There's no state that will not have this or that. If you don't have this, definitely you have that. That if you can focus, you can develop. All the states have potential to develop.
Sosai.
And it's a constitutional matter where some states have 13% derivation. Yes, so definitely the revenue, the allocation is not the same as at now, and definitely it can't be the same because even the IGR that Lagos State generate, River State generate, is not being generated in other states. It's based on their activities, their economic activities the people there engage in. But it's a valid point because every state has a potential to develop. So it's I feel the governors or the leaders or the stakeholders in every state should take it as a challenge because develop your own state so that you can develop at your own pace, not focusing and pressuring the center for resources.
To fata na ni a nan idan aka ce suka samu zama a samu cimma matsaya guda ɗaya na wannan mafi ƙarancin albashi sannan kuma yana da kyau mutane da kuma su NLC ɗin mutanen ma dai most especially mutane al'umman jiha ko kuma ce al'umman ƙasa yana da kyau ku tsaya ma kanku kar ku depending ma salary that's albashi kenan wanda ake bi na wata ya kasance kowa yana yin wasu abubuwa da zai dinga samun kuɗin shiga daily basis irin kar ya zamanto sai wata ya kare waye ka samu wani aikin da zaka dinga yi wanda kuɗi zai dinga shigan maka domin duk yadda za a sayar ma matsaya kaddara yau an tsayar ma 250,000 ɗin kamar yadda su kungiyar kwadagon ta bukata buri fa ɗan adam yana kara karuwa ne sannan kuma zai zamana cewa 250 din aje ba zai zo ma ya isa ma mutane ba, ma'aikata kenan. To amma idan har suna yin 1 or 2 hakan nan wadda kuɗi zai ringa shigo musu, to wannan za a fi samun sauki da kuma ma jin daɗi da walwala na cikin jihohi ma gabaki ɗaya.
Definitely, let there be productivity. Ebi, before you give us your final thought on the minimum wage, the ALGON, that's the Association of Local Governments, yesterday were calling on the federal government and demanding for better revenue sharing formula in favor of the 774 local governments.
Yes, and I think it is good. This is coming now. There's another factor to this minimum wage discussion, that the Supreme Court judgment on autonomy to local governments has thrown up. Now, the local government chairman, now they have financial autonomy. They'll begin to think now the burden, the onus of paying salaries rest on us. We must come to an agreement that we can pay, not that the federal and the state will agree on a wage and we can pay. So it is good. This is coming up. These issues are throwing up a lot of issues. There are problems in Nigeria in the past, but because we don't look at things fully, we just suppress them and move on. Now, what I'm thinking, if they arrive at a minimum wage, can some local governments pay? Mr. Amazumi Fata, I believe the chairman of ALGON, I believe must have looked at this, and they also want to, like the governors, begin to think we should have our own minimum wage at each local government. Now, this is very cumbersome.
Yeah.
But it is good we should look at all these things so that we don't create burdens on people that don't, on states or local governments that don't pay, so that we don't end up spending all our money and resources on wages. Then again, it goes to show that we need to improve our productivity at the state level. We look at some states, even though they earn high federal allocation, it is not because they have been productive. It is simply because the resources are taken from them by the federal government and it's given back to them. That is the issue of, again, resource control. But even on the level of IGR, apart from Lagos and 1 or 2 states, other states are backward in terms of IGR. They don't put focus on IGR, and this is an indictment on both the state and the civil servants that are asking for minimum wage. What are you doing to improve the internal generated revenue of the state? If you improve it, if you do your job well, there will be enough money to go around. You can even go with your fact to say that we've improved, we deserve something. So I believe one day we will come to an end of this minimum wage. But as it stands, the prices of goods in the market, they are not having any meeting. They've already come, the prices are high and are getting higher.
Yeah, the inflation rate keeps going high. Well, and also, we just hope on Thursday they just reach an agreement. But also, I'm also calling on the level, I feel we should be more realistic. We are talking of national minimum wage. Let's be realistic with the amount. Let it not be the case where we will reach an amount some states will not be able to pay, because outrightly some governors are saying we will not be able to pay 62,000 naira. And yes, and there are some states that have not implemented 30,000 minimum wage. So let's be realistic and let it be really national minimum wage, that every worker across board, the federal government staff, the state government, and the local government will be able,
and the private sector.
Yeah, and the private sector. Let's get an amount where everyone, yes, should able
tunda
to
ba wai ko
pay.
biyan albashin ne kaɗai ba, muna da wasu abubuwan da muke bukata wanda za a yi shi a cikin jihohi.
Definitely, we cannot carry all the resources
a
and
ɗauka a ba mutane, kowa zai ci a cikin shi ne kuma ya tafi, ba wai aiki ma kasa ɗin kawai ba.
Well, talking of inflation and prices of commodities, yesterday food crisis dominated the Federal Executive Council meeting. That's the highest decision-making body or meeting here in the land. That's the Federal Executive Council. food crisis, inflation, and the rest of it. So the federal government have resolved to distribute 20 trucks of rice to every state. Well, commendable to others, but maybe this time around it will get to you. To me, this the federal government distribute as is a mean of maybe mitigating the hardship on the people. Okay, but why not now that we have autonomy of local government? Why not the trucks should be shared to the local government, not the state? Because they say it's to the most vulnerable people among us. So I feel the common person, the the local government is closest to the grassroots. I feel there should be more decentralization. This 20 trust that is coming to state governors, state government, it should be channeled to the local government. I feel it will reach the most vulnerable that we are talking about. What's your take on that?
Thank you. I think the Federal Executive Council meeting
Mm.
the tone it took in the last meeting is similar to the tone that every meeting in the house is taking now. The
Yeah.
issue of food dominates
Yes.
everything we discuss at home.
Definitely.
If you're in the house, you must discuss food because of the price of food. Now, be that as it may, if you look at it, the last time there was distribution of trucks of fertilizer, I don't know, I didn't see it, I only read it on pages of newspaper, and I'm a farmer. And I asked some people, a lot of people are just like me asking questions. They say you are in the media, you should have information about this. And now this is rice. This is a truck of rice coming to the states, 20 trucks to each state and the federal capital territory. Now the problem is this: we can't keep doing the same thing the same way and to expect different results. I'm putting the blame on the federal government. Over the years, you provide palliatives, you provide succor to people, and you send it through a channel. And at the end of every palliative provided, majority of the people will tell you they didn't get this thing. So you keep doing it, you see, sharing it through the same channel. Is it a deliberate attempt for the people not to get it? Because it is clear that the people that really need it don't get it. As far as I'm concerned, let me be very, very factual. The three of us in the studio today, we may not qualify for people who need this palliative. It is for the poor of the poorest, for those that are without job, the elderly, the disabled. Now, it is supposed to get to those people first. Now, if it gets to them and there's still more, then they can take it further up the ladder. So if it is properly shared, if you live in a state that have more of the very poor of the poor, it may not get to us. That is good and fine. But the problem now is that it does not even get to the poorest of the poor. It doesn't get to people like us. It just goes somewhere and it disappears along the way. Now the problem is this: you spoke about sending it to the local government. I asked someone who was part of those that were in charge of distribution of fertilizers. He said what they did was each state, like the state, I wouldn't mention the name of the state, that they enacted, each local government was giving their share of the fertilizer to go and distribute as the local government. Now, what they do in some states, they call party members, they call family members, they call people they're close with, and they distribute these things. In some cases, people that know people, they collect and they sell. The certain local government had issue of, they said it was sold, outrightly sold. I'm still doing a follow-up on the story to see what is the consequences of someone selling what is meant for the for all Nigerians. So if you share this right, even to the local government, as long as it's still the same channel of distribution, don't be surprised. The local government always gets everything that comes to the state, but it doesn't come to the people. So we need to change the way we distribute these things. It doesn't come to the people that need it. That is my take on that.
Gara ma asalin waɗanda ka ji source na maganan daga gurin su cewa an ma kawo kuma sun kai, an karɓa ne fa har ma aka sayar. Wasu ma kwata-kwata ba su da labarin yaya shigowan shi yake ballantana wani abu makamancin haka. ana cikin wani yanayi ko ba haka ba, wadda kamar yadda ka faɗa ne, ni kaina ina blaming federal government ne, gwamnatin ƙasa gabaki ɗaya. Saboda me? An yi na farko, an yi na biyu, ko in ce ba na farko, ba na biyu, ba na uku, ba na huɗu ba, ba zan ma iya kirga sau nawa ba. Sai mutanen da kuke bama su ne fa kuke kan bama, ko ba haka ba? Yana da kyau yau idan ana gwaji ai, in na gwada ka idan baka mun mai kyau ba sun ce okay, an samu mistake na farko. To make a mistake na farko ba is a mistake, but to repeat a mistake is not a mistake. Na baka farko baka rike amana ba, sun ce okay, bari in kara gwada ka na biyu, in ma na yake na kamar ni kan ba zan kara ka na biyu ba fa, in nayi na ɗaya ka tafi kenan, zan nemi wani kuma in kara. Idan har wannan ya gani cewa ga matakin da aka ɗauka kan wannan, ai shi zai yi abu mai kyau, an ɗauka an mika. Mutanen da ya kamata su samu ba su samu ba. Kamar ni zan faɗa, yawanci a local government level ne ake samun yawancin ƙananan mutane. In an ce ƙananan mutane ban ce mutum ƙarami ne ba fa, ina nufin wanda yake da bukata sosai. Kuma mutanen da suke ƙananan jihohi su suka fi sanin su waye suke da bukata. A ce wannan abun ya shigo hannun state government, ko ba haka ba, sun ɗauka sun tura ma kowane local government, a ce chairman ɗin sun ka karɓa. Diga nan kuma menene za a bi step by step har ya shiga hannun masu anguwanni. Diga hannun masu anguwanni ai sun san mutanen da suke da bukata cikin anguwansu. Ya yi wani yana da shi har ma zai iya ba ma neighbors nashi, in an tashi raba za a kira ka. To fa ga abun da ya samu, ko ba haka ba, za a raba ma mutanen da suke da bukata. In har kana da zuciyar da za a ce gashin, sai ce to wannan abun fa yayi, ko kuma ya ma yi kaɗan, bari in kara a kai don a raba ya ishi mutane. Amma kullum ana kawowa yadda aka kawo shi ba zai isa ma waɗanda ya kamata a ce ya isa musu ba, sai kaga ya kauce hanya, sai kaga abu ya miƙe hanya gashi nan sai ya kauce. Me ya kamata a yi? An yi na farko, an yi na biyu, an yi na uku, an yi na huɗu, ai sai a canza hanyar da ya kamata a yi. To yanzu za a kawo wancan karo an kawo trucks na hatsi, nawa aka kawo, nawa mutane suka samu, yana nan all over social media, ko ta ina yana nan. Wasu su ce maka gungumin peak milk ɗin nan shine kaɗai suka samu a cikin leda a kulle haka, wasu su ce gashi nan, duk yana nan daban-daban. To wancan ma da ya fi yawa, billantana a ce trucks da za a turo 20 ne fa a jiha gabaki ɗaya. Yaya za a yi a raba wannan? Za a yi magana a koka yunwa ya fi waye.
I guess we all agree that the palliative and the distribution of rice at this moment is not an entirely bad idea. Do you have a better way you feel these items will get to the people more effectively?
I think for years we've been trying to have a social register, a register of the poorest of the poor. That itself has been rigged with all manners of names. I think for us to do this thing, we have to be very scientific about it. We have to be very, very scientific about it. Let us, rather than starting from top to bottom, let us begin the process of getting the list of the poorest of the poor among us from the bottom upward. She said something about Nyangwa. We have we have the family, we have the streets, we have the community, we have villages, we have wards. Now let us take it. Let's say the wards. Everybody belongs to a ward in Nigeria. At the ward level, let there be a sensitization and a nomination or a selection of the poorest of the poor within the ward, the old, the elderly, the disabled, the people, the orphans, the people that are poor. You have a register of them from the ward. We know the people that are poor. If in my ward now, my name appears there, you say no, you can't. You say you are poor. I'm in need, but at this stage, I'm not. So when you have the list of those people from every ward across Nigeria, each ward submits to the local government. The local government submits to the state government submits to the federal government. Now, along the way, something will happen. Some names will begin to get missing, and other names will begin to come in. That is one issue again that we have to look at. But at least we have a list that is coming from the world, not you bring someone from the top to come and generate a list for us here. Let us generate this list, submit word by word, just the election is done. Word by word. Even the polling units can be used. Each polling unit you have you say, okay, let us get a list of people street to street, and then you submit this name. So when this thing is being distributed, you look at the list of the people, you can say in each ward of the federation, 10% will go to the elderly, or maybe 100%, maybe say 30 will go to the elderly, 30 will go to the very poor, 30 will go to the young people and the rest. Then 10 for the political leaders, so that they can do whatever they want to do with
They
it.
are listening. Recently, we were discussing with you. You said definitely, if government want to reach, everyone can be reached. That's just the reality. You were saying that when it comes to immunization, polio against polio, and the rest of it, you see officials reach every yes. So let the government look into it, maybe monitor the distribution and evaluate it. Let there be effectiveness, because people really need the palliative at this moment,
kuma
because
gaskiya
people
mutane
are
su cire
going
son zuciya fa,
going
kowa
through a
ya ji
lot.
tsoron Allah, wallahi in ba haka ba abun nan me abinci ne fa na ci fa, ka ci yanzun nan ya kare, ka je ka fitar da shi a waste, abun nan ne kawai. Ka ji tsoron Allah a zuciyanka, a ba mu wanda ya cancanta, ka kau da kanka, ka cire son zuciya, hasada da kyashi. Na yi faɗa da makwabcina, okay to an kira ni ana tambayan shawara baran sa sunan shi ba fa, all these things dole ne kawai mutum sai ya cire a ran shi, in ba ka ba zai yiwu ba.
Well, we are due for a break. When we return, you get our perspectives on other issues. Please stay with us.
Haske maganin duhu.
Haske TV.
Da Haske TV.
Haske TV.
Jama'a, ku kalli Haske TV. Sunana Wash Waziri Hon.
Haske, 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 haske TV. Haske. Haske TV. Connecting the disconnected.
HASKE TV, connecting the disconnected.
Abin fahari abin sha'awa, al'adunmu yau kasar Hausa. Abin fahari abin sha'awa, al'adunmu yau kasar Hausa.
Abin fahari abin sha'awa, al'adunmu yau kasar Hausa.
Welcome back to the breakfast show. Maybe was you were saying it immunization, the polio, anti-polio immunization, and the rest. It gets to the people because it can't be so. Before we went to the break, that's so funny. So definitely, I didn't mean they can sell it to medical health centers. It might not reach everyone.
If there's a market for polio vaccines, I can assure you based on the experience I've had with issues, along the way, these vaccines will just disappear, and you won't see the immunization of it, or they will come and they drip water in the mouth. I'm sorry to say this. This is the way we find ourselves.
Papa.
There's a market for rice.
Mm.
Those that are supposed to do the distribution, they will have seen the way you're supposed to be giving 20 bags, they're giving 3 bags to come and distribute. Along the way, we turn to 1 bag. When it gets there, it turns to half bag. So that's just the issue.
So, well, in as much as we commend the federal government for the rice distribution and other palliative, we are also calling on the government to monitor and evaluate, and then to ensure that this palliative really gets the most vulnerable among us. On to our next issue. Universities in Nigeria are groaning under the yoke of high tariff from electricity distribution companies. Well, I feel a university as a reservoir of knowledge should think out of the box. This we are talking about energy production and distribution. I feel a university that is supposed to bring out graduates that are to come into our world and fix challenges in virtually all the sectors should not be groaning because of tariff from electricity distribution companies. Rather, they should think out of the box, see how they can generate electricity on their own. We have other sources of energy. Solar is there, the wind, and the rest of it. I don't know your opinion, maybe.
It's a funny situation, and it is the story of Nigeria. A university that is going to produce the policymakers, the engineers, that is supposed to produce people that come into their economy and build the economy, come into governance and build governance, is the same university that is groaning all under the yoke of high tariff of electricity. It now comes to mind, what is happening in these universities? If you can't come together as the school to say, okay, how do we generate power for ourselves? Just within the university community alone. Or even if it's not, if you can't, it's a gradual process. You can say, okay, let us start with this part of the university. We have alternative energy sources. We have solar. We have other ways of doing these things. So it is a slap on the universities to say they are owing electricity bills. What are they training the young people to be? Okay, so they are depending on the federal government or the state government or whatsoever it is to give them money to pay for electricity bill. They can't generate electricity, and they can't be innovative a way to generate funds to pay for these bills. So they are raising a generation of students, of graduates that will also go into the world, expecting the federal government to give them everything. Because the environment they were taught in is an environment whereby they were never tasked to come up with innovations. The same people that graduate every year will be the same people that will go to this distribution company, that will go to the generation company, that will go to Ministry of Power to work. What have they learned in the university? It's a shame, it's a slap on our thing. And I think these are the things ASU should be looking at too. Not only to come all the time and ask for the increase in their wages.
Definitely.
They should look at all these things. What is the problem? What are the issues that leads to them not being innovative? We saw the COVID era. I was expecting our universities to come up with homegrown solutions to COVID.
Idan har yau za a ce wanda bai yi makaranta ba, yaro karami a ƙauye ma, za ka ga ana ɗaukan hoto, yana nan a social media ko ta ina. Za ka ga yaro karami ya haɗa wani abu don kanshi. Ko ba haka ba? Har ma za a yi hoton shi a ce dubi yaron nan bai taɓa zuwa aji ba, in ka gan shi ma dai wani kala ne, a ce ya yi irin wannan. Sannan za a samu yaro karami still ya haɗa ɗan batir ne, waye ne, ya ɗan samu ɗan karamin bulb nashi ya haɗa wuta ya kawo. Duk irin wannan basira ne na kanshi wadda fa ba wai an ajiye shi ne aka karantar da shi ba. Billantana a ce mutum ne wanda ya tashi ya yi karatu ya primary school, ya yi secondary school, ya sake tafi har makarantar gaba da secondary, ko ba haka ba, kuma ya zaɓi course da yake so ya yi, wadda yanzu zai yi theory kuma zai yi practical, ko ba haka ba. Sannan kuma a ce yana da wannan ilimin har ma ana sa su abubuwan da ya kamata a ce ana sa su yi a cikin makarantar gaba da secondary kenan, wadda ya kamata a ce yau don ina kishin kaina, ni a ce na karanta irin wannan a cikin ɗakina, ni baran jona nefa ba, zan haɗa abubuwan da zai sa ni in samu abubuwan da ya dace. Ana haɗawa wadda zaka iya ka kunna fanka, ka kunna AC, har ma ka jona fridge, ka yi waya, duka wannan an san cewa kafin ya kai ka ga haɗa irin wannan kuɗi ne wadda za a sayi wasu abubuwa. University ga baki ɗaya ba za a iya haɗa kuɗin da za a iya producing wasu abubuwan da za a iya ce yaran makaranta waɗanda suke nan talented ones ko kuma wanda suka fi ilimi za su fita da first class, second class, third class da sauransu, har su haɗa domin a ce wannan wayannan sun yi nasu sun tafi, wayannan sun zo sun ɗora. Kafin ka ankara ai ba maganan biyan kuɗin nefa, billantana har a zuwa ce waye yayi yawa ko kuma menene yayi yawa, har a fitar da irin wannan, kusan zan ce ni kam abun kunya ne.
You know, recently Sanu and Nasu are calling on the government to implement the agreement of 4 months salaries and arrears, something like that. So I feel also they should tax themselves Yes, they should tax themselves because honestly, we expect more than this in as much as there won't be funding as expected. But a university setting at least should be able to generate power for the university and its community. We have other sources of energy, solar energy. Well, I've seen University of Maiduguri developing that, working on that. I feel other universities too should please copy from that because it's okay. The young graduates that are coming out of the universities, what are we training them to become? Dependent on the government for money to pay electricity bills and the rest of it. Where do we expect them to work? Because they are future engineers and the rest of them. So the university generating their own power not only save the cost of the money they spend paying the bills, they also in the process the students learn, get familiarized with the process that they will encounter after school. That's my own opinion.
I think so. You're very, very right. You're very, very correct. I just look at some figures here and I found out that they say about 10 of the highest debtors, university debtors, they are they spend over 75 billion on electricity this year. 75 billion naira. Just the top 10, the top 10
And we're in July.
debtors were in July. Just 10 out of it, they spent 75 billion electricity this year. Do you know what 75 billion will do if that money is invested into infrastructures in the schools? Why 75 billion? Okay, 10, let us divide it across board. Let's say, okay, everyone like 8 point something, 8 billion naira. 8 billion naira. Do you know what the kind of energy it will give you?
Amma ka san wani hanzari ba gudu ba fa. Karatun yanzu idan za ka compare ɗin shi da na baya fa ba ɗaya ba ne. Wasu suna shiga makaranta ne kawai domin su samu kwalin kawai su fito da shi. Wanda kuma idan ka ce su tsaya su kare shi ake cewa su defending ɗin shi ba za su iya ba. Saboda me suna shiga ne kawai domin su samu kwalin. Kwalin ake sai a ce in kana da kwalin kawai zan sama maka aiki. To damuwar kawai ka samu kwalin ɗin ne. Shikenan in kana da kuɗi kawai ka zauna ka ba ma wannan ka ba ma wannan kamar yadda yanzu har yanzu ana kokari ana yakan cin hanci da rashawa amma ya gagara karewa ko ba haka ba to ire-iren shi in dai har irin haka ne karatun yake kasancewa to shi yasa za a samu irin waɗannan kalubalen da ake fuskanta amma idan da a ce karatun ana yin shi yadda yake ake kira karatu ne ai da ba wannan magana.
Definitely. Also, do you know the quality of our graduates these days? You will see a young person that has graduated from the university finds it very difficult to write a very simple essay.
I will comment this way. The quality of our graduates reflect the quality of those that graduate in them. What is the quality of the teacher? You are meant right from the primary level, nursery level, to teach this child to grow. Did you really teach that child to grow? You are meant to lecture this student. Did you really lecture them? Is the environment conducive for them for learning? Did you task them enough? Or did you just come to the lecture with about a thousand people, do your thing, sell handouts, and go? Nobody learns in such an environment. The thing is that what is even the quality of the lecturers? What is the quality of the teachers? Now we see that a lot of people go into teaching or lecturing because it's a means of livelihood. Some are employed because they know somebody. It is not because they are really academics. Now, the university environment is meant for people who can lecture, people who can impact knowledge, not for someone looking for a job. Now, if you bring in people who are just looking for a job to lecture students, they don't even know what it takes to do. Now, if you blame them, you cannot, they produce these graduates. So that shows that they themselves, they didn't produce something good.
So it's a garbage in, garbage
It's
out
garbage
kind of
in, garbage out.
situation.
Wasu ma
Well,
za su ce
sorry to
abin da
before you
suka
land on
karantar
your
da
thoughts,
kai.
do you know that I would fault that from the recruitment process? Do you know that there are universities in this country, government owned, that the recruitment process is a sort of reward from politicians after elections.
Definitely.
So it's not as if the person is qualified for the job.
Yes.
You just get it as a reward for his participation in the electioneering process. Because there's a situation or there was an incident that lecturers went out protesting violently from the university, destroying and putting fires on. So you can see that's a talk like behavior. You don't expect a lecturer going to that level. So I will fault the challenge from the foundation, from the recruitment process of lecturers. So I feel government and stakeholders involved there should be more scrutiny. It should be something that someone deserves, that he is qualified, not because of a reward of his participation in an electioneering process.
In ma za a iya managing irin waɗannan malaman ɗin a primary school, bai kamata a managing ɗinsu a university level ba. Saboda me? Matakin karshe kenan na fara karatu mai kyau. Ko ba haka ba? A ce wai na zo zan lecturing, abunda na karanta ko ba ko na haddace shine abun da zan zo in karantar da ku a ciki. In na karantar da ku kuma ina expecting cewa idan har na zo na ba ku test ko kuma kun zo kun yi exams, ina bukatan abun da na karantar da ku shi za ku saka mu a ciki. Kar ka je ka ce ka samo different explanation ka zo ka kara mun, sai zon ce shine abun da na karantar da ka je ka ɗauko mun wasu big grammars to ka zo ka yi marking papers ɗinka. Ka san ana samun lecturers masu faɗan haka ma students ɗinsu, sai zamana kamar ma a ɗau wannan lecturer ɗin a ajiye in ya so student ɗin su tashi su karantar da shi. So ire-iren wannan gaskiya ba ma abu ne na ci gaba ma kasa ba, kwata-kwata wannan kawai mutum yana so ya kashe masu karatu ne, yana so ya kashe harkan karantarwa ne. So in dai har ana samun irin wannan gaskiya ya kamata a canza tsari ko kuma a yi bincike a wannan tsarin ɗin domin a gyara shi. In baka ba gaskiya zuwa gaba fa ba za a samu waɗanda suke da karatu ba ma, masu ilimi kam.
Definitely looking at the cost, that's the money being paid to distribution companies for electricity bills by the university. I feel that money can be channeled to generate power. There are other sources of power, 8 billion solar, wind energy. We can channel that money towards that, and it can generate power for the university community. While we definitely call on stakeholders to please overhaul the system, the entire university, from the recruitment process and the rest of it, because definitely the quality of the graduates will produce would be definitely almost equal to the quality of lecturers, the quality of the university itself. So please let there be an entire overhaul of the system, because the university should be our reservoir of knowledge. This is where we are churning out graduate people that will lead us, people that will lead different sectors, different industry tomorrow. And I feel we can do better as a nation. The United Arab Emirates and the Nigerian government has reached an agreement yesterday on the visa ban on Nigerians. So people carrying Nigerian passport can now get visa to travel to the United Arab Emirates. Well, it's commendable coming at this time, but we really need to do more. Because when there's a visa ban, definitely there are issues concerning the citizens of the country, their behaviors in that host country or the visiting country. What led to the ban in the first place? It's not enough the federal government reaching an agreement with the United Arab Emirates alone. We should go further to prevent such things, because it's an insult on Nigeria and Nigerians that a country will issue a visa ban on us. What's your take on that?
Yes, I think the UAE is not the first country that will issue visa ban on Nigeria, and there are also some countries, although there's no ban on our passports, but there is stiff measures on our passports. Now, this is the reflection of who we are. if the UAE case was in isolation, I would say okay, probably because we had an issue, but it is a issue that is prominent in almost every country. The green passport is set aside, and it is more scrutinized than some other passports. And so the issues that led to the ban by the UAE. The UAE is a serious country, a country that believes in being organized, and they generate IGR from tourism, from sales, from people that come around to do things. So they wouldn't allow you to come from wherever you're coming from to come and mess up their system. And as I know, a lot of Nigerians have been going to the UAE, a lot of Nigerians, and a lot of us, more of us going to the UAE, Nigerians. We've been doing well. We've been doing business there. We've been working there. We don't commit crime. But just a few people, some few years ago, just focused on UAE, and they started going there with the sole aim. They have nothing to do there, just to go there and see what that place holds for them, and they begin to go into crime. Now, cultism was another issue. I've seen videos of Nigerians on the street stabbing themselves, going to their rooms to harm themselves, and the same way they practice cultism here has been taken there. No serious country will accept it. They might accept it from their citizens, but they wouldn't accept it from you coming from outside. So these issues must be looked into. And we as Nigerians, when we do these things, the relationship between Nigerian government and UAE will still be there. There will be bilateral trade. But you as a citizen, you'll be stopped. Government officials will come in anytime, any day, because there is still bilateral agreement between Nigeria and UAE. But you as a citizen, for every negative thing you do, it will affect you. You see countries, people that you go to UAE, you see people from poorer countries in Africa. They come in, they work, they go, they are employed. But when you come, they see you, they tell you to step back a little. We need
More
to
scrutiny.
we need to change our ways of doing it. It's not only about UAE, it's about almost every country we find ourselves. I think this Nigerian spirit there's a positive part of the Nigerian spirit that stands us out positively anywhere we go to. But a few bad eggs also have this negative vibe they take to wherever they go. I think we need to check on them. And I think it all boils down to we need to really fix this country.
Well, I feel it's a foundational issue, definitely, because and also it's more work for the authorities, the stakeholders involved in traveling in and out of the country, because the Nigerian Immigration Service, for instance, should not allow people that already have questionable character in the country to travel out, because they are really painting the country black, and that's not nice at all. The Nigerian spirit stands out wherever we are found. But for these issues to be coming up and it's becoming more frequent, it's becoming an issue of concern. It boils down from the family. Please, we have to watch parents and guidance to watch after their children, because the family values of Africa, of Nigeria as a country, is almost breaking down. The culture, the tradition that we that is associated with us as a people is eroding gradually. And I feel this is responsible for some of the ill behavior you see outside the country. Because when you carry a lizard in Nigeria, you take it to America, it will not become a crocodile. So it's the character that is in a person that when he travels, he will still exhibit such. So I feel there should be kind of reorientation for Nigerians, so that we deserve better. This kind of treatment on an entire country, it speaks somehow. There's a story a friend of mine told me. He traveled outside of the country. He was in a bus, in a train, and there was now a public service announcement on the radio that the citizens should beware of Nigerian citizens, especially. So you can imagine the trauma and how you will feel you are in a bus as a Nigerian and there's a
Kira
public
ma
announcement on radio that citizens should be
Beware of
Nigerian citizens. Yeah, beware of you.
ka san yadda kullum ake faɗa kamar da Hausawa suka ce wake ɗaya shi ke ɓata miya. 'Yan Najeriya muna da farin jini ga irin kaurin suna ana jin Najeriya to shikenan kawai ya zauna. To sai ya zamana cewa in ka shiga wani wuri ko ba haka ba kun ɗan yi zama sai zamana wani ya je kai kaddara ɗan Najeriya bai taɓa shiga wannan country ɗin ba ya je wani abu sai zamana wannan wake ɗaya da yake ɓata miyan ɗin sai ya zo ya aikata ba daidai ba ya zo ya tafi ko kuma aka kama shi ko wani abu makamancin haka sai in wani ya zo ta yaya za a karɓe ka an san cewa ga nan ɗan kasan ku ga abin da yake yi sai a ɗauka ma irin gaba ɗaya dukkan ku ɗaya kuke yi. To kaga ire-iren wannan idan ba mutane bai kamata kana ɓata sunan kasanka ba. Wani lokaci ba kowane mutum bane yake tsayawa ya yi judging ɗinka you in person sai ana duba ana cewa ai ƴan kasa kaza ne kamar yadda wani lokaci ka ji an ce maka irin abubuwan anguwa ba ɗan anguwan gadi bane ko kuma ba ɗan anguwan sabon layi bane ko kuma ba ɗan sabon gari ba irin waɗannan irin abubuwan to shine ke kawowa suna yake ɓaci wanda kuma sai kasa su ce kai taurin kan ɗin yayi yawa to ya kamata kawai su daina ma shigowa cikin mu don za su ɓata mana al'umma da sauransu. But I thank God tunda dai sun cire shi ko kuma ya zan ce ɗin nan saboda me saboda gane cewa ba wai gaba ɗaya aka haɗu aka zama ɗaya ba don bai kamata a haɗa mu gaba ɗaya ana mana kuɗin goro ba. To ire-iren shi gaskiya yana da kyau mutum iyaye farko su lura da tarbiyyar 'ya'yansu gaskiya yana da muhimmanci sosai saboda ba koyaushe za ka kasance da ɗanka ba kuma ba lallai ka rayu da ɗanka har ƙarshen rayuwanka ba sannan kuma yana da kyau a ce idan za ka yi abu ka yi shi ya kasance a shaide ka da hali mai kyau ba wai hali mara kyau irin gashi nan ba saboda idan an shaide ka da hali mara kyau to haka zai bi ka har ƙarshen rayuwanka sannan in 'ya'yanka ma sun zo sai ce ba ɗan wane bane ba ɗan wane ba ire-iren wancan abun duk yana bin mutum to gaskiya kamata a ce mu tsaya mu kare kanmu da haƙƙin 'yan uwanmu ma gabaki ɗaya saboda abin da ya shafe mu ya shafi 'yan uwanmu gabaki ɗaya.
Definitely, we must commend the federal government on this. Yesterday, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made the announcement on the visa ban lift here. So it's commendable. I guess we'll be wrapping up for today, so we'll have to get your final thoughts.
Well, and just like I said, the food discussion is discussion in every house. So please let them do something. Let this food, rice, get to the people that need rice.
What about you?
Kamar yadda ya faɗa ɗin gaskiya ya kamata a bi yadda za a yi domin a kalli waɗanda ya kamata sun samu. Sannan kuma daɗin daɗawa ya kamata ce universities su tsaya akan gaskiya karatun duk wasu masu karanta abu da ya shafi na'urori haka da sauransu saboda ku rage ma kan kuma almubazzaranci zan ce to almubazzaranci da kuɗi domin idan har kuna da masu ilimin ɗin za su muku abubuwan da ba sai kun tashi kuna ta wani biyan kuɗin ku da dai sauransu hakan nan ba sannan kamar yadda kai magana ƙungiyar kwadago za su samu zama da shi shugaban ƙasa akan tsaida maganar wannan mafi ƙarancin albashi ina fata duk matsayar da aka tsayar ma Allah ya sa gwamnati su duba yadda za a iya biyan waɗanda ya dace ko ba haka ba sannan kuma ina fata idan har aka tsayar da matsayan su kuma ƙungiyar kwadago su karɓe shi hannu biyu sannan kuma masu karɓan albashi su tashi su yi wani abu saboda ya rarrage wasu irin ƙananan abubuwa da sauransu.
Let there be productivity. Wow, that has been our show for today. Please join us tomorrow, same time, same station. For me, it's goodbye.
Bye.
Haske maganin duhu. Haske